Potentially, but without further ado, we are going to be getting this PvP on the way on 2000 atmospheres. LE, we're in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner. The blue Protoss player representing our very own cranky ducklings. Everybody get your snack. It's PattyMac.
Get the copy pasta in the chat. Get in the chat.
Oh.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of 2000 atmospheres LE, we have the Canadian Protoss player. He is red, representing Alpha X. It is TriGGeR.
The question is, do I wait for it to line up with the intro, or do I just put it in?
Just put it in, man. Just put it in.
Oh.
Oh, God. Otherwise, you'll forget about it.
I wouldn't put it past me to forget. Yeah.
Oh, God. But yes, for those wondering and for those who are unaware, myself and Yaku, we are both founding members, or we were both there from the beginning of the Cranky Ducklings. I myself am the founder of the team alongside Kuro. And yeah, we have a long history here. We've had our eye on PattyMac for a very long time. We were following him for the entirety of 2020. Ideally, he would have been our first sign up. But of course, he did step away for a little bit at the beginning of the year. And now he's back. Meanwhile, TriGGeR has also been popping off in North America. Like, these two players, there's a world where maybe, you know, again, in a couple of years, they could be the next Australia and Neeb.
Yeah, funnily enough. Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Both Protoss players.
Both Protoss, both very young. They're both in their teens, still in their teens. So, oh god, so much potential. It's so impressive how high they have risen in such a short time. Again, TriGGeR, this is his first year competing at this level of play. PattyMac, this is his second year competing at this level of play. So, yeah, it all comes down to this. On top of like how close.
No, I was just gonna say, but it is his first time as a Cranky Duckling, as we were robbed of it last season.
we were. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. Oh, God. As for those wondering, PattyMac qualified for the group stage last season, but he was unable to participate because he was moving to another state for college. And as a result, he was unable to play at the scheduled times.
Yeah, he forfeited, and spot was given to someone else. Don't remember who, but...
yeah, feels bad, man. Yeah. Oh god. But like, you know, their rivalry doesn't just come with their teams and themselves as rising stars in the NA scene. But also they are currently tied up when it comes to their scores in the group.
They are. This is basically going to be a qualifying match, as you were mentioning. Now, there is a possibility where both players advance. But in order for that to happen, I'm pretty sure PattyMac has to win 2-0, and then Mazda versus Dolan also has to go a certain way.
Oh, that is...
So, yeah, so it's not particularly likely.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. There is a world out there where both these players do qualify, but we'll see how this works out because, meanwhile, TriGGeR, he prioritized his Nexus. He went for the low ground wall. Very greedy opener from TriGGeR. PattyMac, a little bit more standard and much more aggressive with this proxy.
Yeah, TriGGeR is going to be able to get away with his low ground wall for now, but for how much longer as PattyMac finishes up that proxy gateway, is going to be warping in more and more units.
That he is. We do have a bit of a probe scout here. Is going to confirm that there is a natural base and that there are probes, but honestly, not that many, and that should TriGGeR.
Heh, I get it.
And mate, now it's go time. PattyMac, he's got to go for it.
Yeah, even before Blink finishes up, TriGGeR has scouted everything in PattyMac's base.
Yeah.
So would I.
Oh my god, here we go. We have additional shield batteries. We have a secondary pylon as well. Ooh, TriGGeR, he was getting ready for a blink into the main base, so he's a little bit out of position.
Yeah, unfortunately for TriGGeR, PattyMac decides to come in right at the front door.
Ugh.
And there's nothing to really hold that. All the shield batteries go down, but the cannon gets up and running.
That it does. We have another shield battery on the way. Overcharge will be available, and the Stalker counts are relatively similar, but TriGGeR is having a really awkward time pushing out of his wall.
is, but a cannon is also preventing PattyMac from getting deeper into that base. For now, anyway, Blink is about to finish up for him.
Oh, God.
And with that, he can afford to be a little bit more reckless.
Yeah, but the problem is that the shield battery finishes, and now we have Overcharge, and Overcharge can be everything here in Stalker versus Stalker.
It really can.
Speaking of, what if you can't make any Stalkers, as the Cyber Core is going to get picked off?
It's going to be a while before TriGGeR can make any more Stalkers. Just kidding, as the backup Cybercore just finishes up. PattyMac is trading a little bit better thanks to Blink, but Blink for TriGGeR is about to finish up too, and this Immortal is really going to secure the defense.
Yeah, exactly. Thankfully, throughout all of this, PattyMac has been probing up. He wasn't all in, but he's still looking to deal some damage. Again, if there's a moment for him to just pounce upon that Immortal, he will go for it.
Well, he pops a Guardian Shell, and he's looking to follow through, but he can't quite push in while that shield battery is still providing support.
Exactly. TriGGeR, he does force PattyMac back, and now that that Immortal Cannon's getting higher. We have a War Prism on the way, so then suddenly things will shift in favor of TriGGeR. He can be the aggressor.
Especially with some well-timed Immortal juggling. PattyMac is trying to expand right now. He's working on the next stage, which involves chargelets, but TriGGeR is working on his +1. He's, again, there's a timing for him to really utilize before PattyMac.
The War Prism! The War Prism! The War Prism!
Pretty exposed. No, PattyMac, he stops!
He just barely spots it!
He sees it! And he blinks right on top of it. Will shut that down. Or at least shut down the reinforcement potential.
Yeah, and now
he still wants to go for it.
And he's going for it. He's going for the natural at the same time TriGGeR is going for the natural. PattyMac, he recalls back home!
Yeah, it's gonna force to at this point. Stalkers go down, or sentries rather, go down. It's gonna be a lot more precarious for PattyMac. He blinks on top of the Immortal. I'm not convinced he has enough firepower though, even with the probes being pulled.
Exactly. He will get both Immortals, but at what cost? Because there are still plenty more Stalkers where that came from. PattyMac, he just doesn't have that much remaining. He's forced to pull the boys, and he's trying desperately to hold on. 2 more Stalkers are being warped in, but, mate, it's not going to be enough.
Unfortunately not. TriGGeR's army supply just keeps getting higher and higher and higher, and PattyMac's worker supply keeps getting lower and lower. Yeah,
exactly. That opener from PattyMac was meant to deal far more damage than it did at TriGGeR. He had a beautiful defense there. He recognized what was coming his way with the probe scout, with the sentry count, sentry scouts even, and TriGGeR, mate, he's gonna take a lead.
GG. And just like that, with 1 map win, TriGGeR, I don't believe is out of it, but it's basically, his chances are looking very good now, even if he loses the series.
Exactly, because map score does matter here between who advances and who doesn't. What I will say is that if TriGGeR still loses this, though, like, it's gonna be, like...
it's very awkward.
Yeah. Like, the winner of this series does still matter here. But because TriGGeR took it...
He has head-to-head and whatnot.
Yeah, because TriGGeR... Well, again, like, they're currently all even at the moment.
In series score.
Yes. So what I'm saying is the winner of this series will move on regardless, but it's all about the 4th place, right?
Exactly.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed. Everything's on the line right now.
Yeah, it's all on the line here, and we're just diving straight into game number 2. TriGGeR with a nice lead here. Can PattyMac bring it back?
We'll see.
We will. Oh, God, I do know that. I'm very curious to see how this game plays out. I do know that PattyMac has something cheeky planned on this that he tried to pull off against Australia, I believe. It was either Australia or Neeb. I think it was Australia, yes.
I believe so.
We'll see how this goes.
As we continue our series here on Jagannatha LE, we're in the top right-hand corner map, spotting all the way in the top right-hand corner. The blue Protoss player coming out from the land of America. He is, of course, going to be representing our very own cranky ducklings. Get your stacks ready. We have PattyMac.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Jagannatha LE, we have the Canadian Protoss player. He is red, representing Alpha X. It is TriGGeR.
Oh boy. I don't think I've ever gotten to mention this before, Light. But one thing I appreciate from PattyMac, it's one of the few players whose IRL names are basically the same as their in-game names.
Yeah, take that pocket, Mike.
Their in-game ID. Keep shaking my head every time he... It blew my mind when I found out his name was neither Paco nor Mike. Not even Miguel.
Francesco, mate. God damn it.
Shaking my head.
Shaking my head. Yeah, he's PattyMac, I believe.
Yeah. PattyMac something.
Yeah, Mac stands for something. I know
McIntyre.
That much.
Yeah.
I think so. But yeah.
McElwain. There we go.
There you go.
I'm not sure if I pronounced it right, but
we'll see if he can bring it back here. So what I was alluding to, which obviously isn't happening, is that PattyMac did attempt to go for a cannon rush into, I believe, proxy Stargate against Australia on this map. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. He ended up losing his probes, so that just completely shut down the cannon rush and any kind of momentum that he had. So it was a rough series. Here, we see that PattyMac doesn't go for it, and TriGGeR looking to take the economic lead once again.
And then the low ground wall coming up from him. Still taking a pretty big risk here. Again, Juggernaut and 2000 atmospheres, not quite Oxide nor Blackburn, where you do have a ramp leading into the natural base. But I guess TriGGeR has sort of... TriGGeR does have some kind of an understanding of how PattyMac likes to play, I suppose. So he's feeling safe enough to go for the low ground walls specifically against him.
Yeah, again, this is something that MaxFax does quite often. It's just doesn't matter who you're up against, just go for the low ground wall. You have enough confidence to defend against and defend and scout against anything that your opponent is doing, and you can prepare for it. That's the thought process behind it.
Pretty much.
Meanwhile, we do have a Zealot coming across the map. Is denied entry into the main, so PattyMac does keep things hidden. But what TriGGeR does see is that there is no natural base, so he does know that there is some one-base play going on right now.
Yeah, it's very important to scout what the tech is going to be so he can react accordingly, but in the end, PattyMac is just going for another proxy blink.
In a way, last time it was 3 gates, now it is 4 gates, so much more aggressive, much more committed.
And this does have the potential to backfire. I mean, in the last game, it backfired a little bit. PattyMac still had a chance as he was working on his transition. This time, no such opportunity to exist. He has to keep moving forward.
Exactly. Here we go. The gateway's about to finish up. TriGGeR hasn't seen what's coming his way yet, but he does already have 2 shield batteries. He hasn't thrown down a second pylon, which is a little bit worrisome, not gonna lie. But I mean, mate, he started with a Stargate opener, and he's pumping out nothing but Void Rays. This shows that he knows that he needs to be defensive right now.
Exactly. There is a window where PattyMac will be able to snipe the Void Rays before they really get... the count really gets out of control. If he has enough Stalkers, he can one-shot the Void Rays even with the shield batteries. But it is a very slim chance just looking at that defensive setup that TriGGeR has.
We have a second pylon coming up as well. Like, he is preparing himself. Maybe he's lacking an additional shield battery. Maybe. But as you said, it's all about the control here, because there's a world where PattyMac does snipe these Void Rays, or a world where TriGGeR does keep them back.
Blink has finished up. How's the control? Blink's right on top of one of the Void Rays. Battery overcharge is popped. And it will keep the Void Rays alive. Prismatic alignment is going to be enough to chase away the rest of the Stalkers. And everything else kind of goes down. This, again, is very committed from PattyMac. He has to win with it. Exactly.
It is 100% all in. PattyMac, he was able to kill one of the Void Rays. He wanted to keep going with that momentum and snipe the second. But TriGGeR was so quick with that overcharge. He kept it alive. And now the chances of PattyMac winning this game and this series are lowering as time goes on.
And the Immortal pops out. Basically the Void Rays off the ground.
Exactly. I mean, sure, one of the shield batteries is exposed and maybe that can get picked off. But again, PattyMac, he wants to go for the kill. Ooh, we do see a cancel there on one of the shield batteries.
Well, the shield battery is exposed, but that's exactly why we have a backup.
Yeah.
Or why TriGGeR has a backup.
He does. Overcharge is not available at the... Oh, no, never mind. It is available. It was reset. Oh, my God.
Yeah. That's how long ago that engagement was.
Ugh. Oh, no. And PattyMac, he's going to try and transition. He's going to try and expand.
Well, he has to.
But he's...
Right, it's his tournament life on the line.
Yeah, he's so far behind here. Ooh, maybe a nice cheeky play here with the force field.
Oh, is able to block the retreat and does pick up a Immortal, but that's not quite going to be enough. Picks up the Void Ray too. This army is far from shield battery range, but it looks beefy enough that it doesn't need the shield battery support to chase us down.
Oh god, it really doesn't. But PattyMac is trying to outmaneuver TriGGeR right now. He does warp in a couple of Adepts. There is no wall, so the Adepts will get into the mineral line. But TriGGeR, he's just going across the map.
He's going straight for the throat, and PattyMac is not in position. He's going to have to recall if he decides to defend his base. That, or go for a full-on base trade. Battery overcharge gets popped on a single Immortal. It is living up to its name. There's not a lot that Stalkers can do. He will be able to pick off that Immortal. But what about the defense here for PattyMac?
Yeah, we're going for a full-on base trade. Let's go. PattyMac, he has to try and depower the production, but there are 2 pylons, so the Void Ray will finish.
Gonna finish up. The probes should get a surround on the Stalkers. The Void Ray does go down, which is something. PattyMac is bleeding out across the map. GG is called, and TriGGeR takes that series 2-0.